Hey guys, Jim here. Welcome back once again. Today we're going to be taking a look at a new offering from Remette. Now, Remette is a brand that we know for making extraordinarily low-priced knives, primarily sold on Amazon. They have their own store on Amazon. So I wasn't quite expecting this. Now, while it's not very expensive, and I'll put the price up on the screen because all of a sudden I just forgot what it was, but later on I will be able to look it up. It's still extraordinarily cheap for what you're getting, but this is a higher profile knife than what they've made in the recent past. And I'm pretty excited about that. I never really look at knives that are this inexpensive just because they tend to not have the features or materials or build quality or heat treat or steel that I particularly want to have. In this case, you're getting 14C28N, which is a good solid steel that's going to give you a decent amount of edge retention, good amount of corrosion resistance. So it's still a good performer for being a cheaper steel. Now, when I say cheap, I want you to understand I mean more affordable, not cheap as in, oh my God, it's so cheap, it's garbage. Now, they've obviously put some work into the finishing of this knife. And we'll talk about the design in a minute, but I want to talk about the execution first because really it's going to be this entropic finish that jumps out to most people that look at this variation. There's this one, which is the full titanium version that has the full entropic treatment. And then there's one that has just the inlays of titanium with the entropic treatment. So what they have to do to prepare for that is fully mirror polish all of the surfaces. And if you've never made a knife, it may be easy to say, well, that's not that big of a deal. It is. It's much more time consuming. It's very easy to screw up and have to start all over again. But they've done a really good job of a nice mirror polish throughout every piece and part of this frame. They did a really, really good job. Now, the more I look at this, and I didn't realize this until I opened my mouth, this is still an inlay version, except they took the bolster area and all the rest of the frame and polished and did the entropic anodization on there. So this is not one piece. So they have actually milled this out, milled out a pocket for an inlay to lay into it. So I wonder if there's a possibility in the future that they might be offering maybe different inlay options, maybe different scale sets, let's say like carbon fiber or something that you could purchase additionally and then just unscrew the frame of the inlays and then drop it in. Now, I'm not sure how the inlays are affixed because I just realized just now that they are inlays. Okay, so they are screwed in from the back, it appears. So from the inside, so you would have to disassemble the whole knife, get inside of the frame, unscrew it, and then take them out. Not that that's really a huge deal for most people, but it's good to know. They did a really nice job on the finish. It's a little bit less of the antiqued kind of shipwreck that you get out of a lot of the entropic finishes. The whole idea with entropic is you want to create a look that reminds people of Timascus or Mokutai, where it's this nice random pattern, all these brilliant, crazy colors coming out and creating a pattern within that. So you're able to get that, but sometimes, besides just getting the blues and the magentas and a little bit of the yellows, you will sometimes get like this old, burnt, crusty looking kind of look to many of the areas. It's not really all that attractive. Now, as far as the overall design goes, I really like the ergonomics, the size of the knife, and the way that it fits in the hand. Keeping in mind that this is a mirror polished frame, it's going to feel pretty slick, and there's no jimping anywhere on the knife to give you better purchase. Your best bet is going to be right up here by putting your index finger into the finger choil of the blade to give you more security in your grip. That's really the only way you're going to accomplish that, unfortunately. So keep that in mind. Not that this kind of knife, this look anyway, is going to be much of a workhorse knife for you. You're probably not going to be doing a lot of crazy things where it could possibly slip out of your hand, but if you do, choke up on it. That's going to be your best bet. Now, one thing I'm sure you've noticed immediately is the fact that it has an Axis style lock on it. And since Benchmade let their patent run out on that and it's become part of the public domain, a lot of brands have begun to use their locking system. I personally hate it. I've never liked it in any brand, Benchmade or otherwise. I've never liked it. And Microtech has made their own version they call the Ram Lock. What I don't like about it is as the blade is opening, you see the lock is being engaged by the tang of the blade, because that's how it works. So what happens is when you're opening that, this is moving back and forth. If you're gripping the knife in such a manner that that is somehow interrupted, then the blade can't open. Or it makes it much, much more difficult to do that. So for me, if I want to go and reverse flick it off the thumb stud, my finger is laying right across the backside of the lock there. And that slows down the action. And it could do it to a point where it won't actually go to full lock, and that's dangerous. Then it could come down, it could cut me, I could move my hand in such a manner that it would cut me because I'm expecting it to have been opened to full lock, and it didn't. So I want to be very clear. This is not a knock against Remette in any way. I didn't like it when Benchmade was doing it. I don't like it now that Microtech is doing it, and about, a half a dozen other brands offering at least a dozen different knives. I avoid it like the plague. Now, it does work very well. They did a good job with the system, so I really can't complain too much. I just have to know that when I pick this particular knife up, it's going to be either slow rolling it, which, by the way, that feels really, really nice. It's smooth and it's clean. Or I can thumb flick it off the front stud. I'm just not going to be flicking it off of especially not off the fuller. Because then I've got much more of my finger on there and I'm gripping harder. So yeah, that lock did not like sliding back and forth like that. So, design-wise, I really, really like the blade shape. It's a nice functional blade shape. It's going to be great for all kinds of cutting. There's just enough belly here to work with. The tip does come way up past the point of the pivot. So if you're using just the tip, like you're slicing open boxes, then you're going to have to come way up this way in order to do that. So it's all really going to depend on what your particular needs are and how you feel that you're going to use the knife. As we take a look at it from the spine side of the knife, you see it has a real elegance to the overall way that it's shaped. From that very long, wide, and flat titanium backspacer to this nice swooping drop in the frame, which really, really feels nice in the hand. Overall, it's got a nice flow to it. I love the blade shape. If this were a flipper with thumb studs and a liner lock or even a frame lock, I would be completely madly in love with it. As it stands, I just really, really like it. And I think it's an outstanding value. I think you've got a blade steel that's going to give you a little bit of longevity. It's certainly not going to rust or corrode in any measurable way that you're going to have any issues with. And it's going to give you a good long time of cutting before you need to resharpen it, especially if you're in the practice of stropping in between uses instead of just going straight to let's remove material and friggin' sharpen the damn thing. I think it's going to serve you really, really well. And again, I reiterate, this is much more of a man's pocket jewelry than it is a workhorse knife, so you're probably not going to be heavily abusing it anyway. So that's the look and my thoughts on the Remette Chameleon. Grab yours as quickly as you can, because I honestly believe as more and more people come across this knife and they see the value for the materials and for the finish work that's been applied into it, and they realize that, hey, the knife actually functions well beyond how it looks, I think they're probably going to sell pretty darn quickly. At least that's my personal opinion. I could be wrong. Don't forget, right over here, you've got the specs. Not leaving them on the screen forever, but you can pause the video and check them out right there. I mean, just under 8 inches in overall length. The all-important blade length, just under 3 inches, 2.95 inches. And the blade stock thickness is 140 thou thick. So it's a good balance of thin and lightweight without being delicate. And certainly it's not going to be thick and making it difficult to cut long through thick materials. Nice clean flat grind on this. It's going to be a good performer. You've got that 60 to 62 HRC, the Rockwell hardness on the M390 steel. I think overall, it's a good package. Unique in the fact that they've got that, what they call the pearlescent finish, which is more or less kind of like a frosted finish that every so often will pick up like a rainbow pattern in natural lighting. I can't really replicate it here under my studio lights, but under natural lighting, it tends to pick up almost like an iridescence to it, which is pretty darn unique. So to own something special and different in your collection and not break the bank, this is an excellent way to go. And if it happens to be a knife that you're carrying one day when you need to actually use a knife, it's not going to let you down. And honestly, that's what's most important.